Hello everyone, this is Cordord. Welcome back. Today I want to talk about the factory design pattern and how to use this in Laravel. So the factory pattern is a creational design pattern that abstracts away the creation of objects. Even its name describes its meaning, factory. It produces something, it creates something. In this case, objects. Let's see when and how to use it. You need to switch implementation easily. So you have your application and you provide multiple notification systems for your user. So the user chooses a notification system and sends a request to the backend. And now you probably have something like if this notification, then create this notification system, else if this notification, then create another notification system, and so on and so forth. You can abstract away this into a factory. Objects are complex to set up. Sometimes you may find yourself in situations where creating an object takes a bit of code, right? And you can extract away this process into a factory, which in turn makes your code much more cleaner and readable. Creating families of related objects. So this is where you can power up your factory design pattern by the use of PHP interfaces. Imagine that you have an e-commerce application and you support multiple regions, right? And each region, for example, US, China, has its own payment gateways and services. So you want to provide one unified interface for creating all these objects. Now that we have learned this, uh, it's actually time to see a real-life example using Laravel. So I have created a Laravel 12 project and I'm using the latest version of PHP, which I think is 8.4.0. Now regarding this project in my composer.json, I'm using Sanctum for some authentication and Pest for some testing. Now regarding this project, app HTTP, then checkout controller. I have this controller, which is pretty simple. So what I want to showcase is the checkout process for an e-commerce application. You can see that I'm doing some validation. So the user can choose its payment gateway between Stripe, PayPal, and cash on delivery. And then we have this code that deals with object creation, basically getting the right adapter for the payment gateway. So if the gateway is Stripe, we're gonna use this service. If it's PayPal, this one, and so on and so forth. So what we want to do is basically abstract this away. Now regarding these services, they are pretty simple. So create a folder services, payments, and I have this, let's see, interface, payment gateway interface, and every payment gateway service is actually implementing this interface. So this is for Stripe, this is for PayPal, and this is for cash on delivery. So you can see that this is pretty simple. So I have created also a route. Let's see, api.php. Make sure you have this file. This is the route. And make sure in your bootstrap app.php you have this configuration for the API. And I also have some future tests for that checkout controller test. So you can see that I'm testing for Stripe payment, something pretty simple, for PayPal, for cash on delivery, and for rejecting invalid payment gateway provider. So if I do PHP artisan test, all tests should pass, and you can see that they are passing. So what we want to do, basically, we can see here that we are dealing with object creation, right? And we want to abstract this away to make the code cleaner and much more readable, right? So what we can do is basically use the factory pattern. So let's refactor this and use a factory. So in my app, services, payments, I want to create a new file, payment gateway factory.php. So let's provide a namespace app services payments. So class payment gateway factory like this. We need to define only one method, public function make. String is going to take the payment gateway. And I want to use a match expression on that gateway. So this match expression is available from PHP 8.0. And now if we have Stripe, I want to return new Stripe payment service. You can see that this match expression is much more cleaner than if, else, or switch. If I say PayPal, I want to return new PayPal payment service. If I have cash on delivery, I want to return new. So new cash on delivery service like this. And by default, I want to throw new runtime exception. Invalid payment gateway like this. Nice. So make sure to import everything. Okay, this one. Let's go to our checkout controller. We need to inject this factory. So payment gateway factory. Let's call this factory. So make sure to import this. And we can remove this. I have something like service. It's gonna be factory make, and let's pass the gateway like this. Nice. So you can see that the code is much more cleaner and readable. Let's go to our terminal and run PHP artisan test. Nice. So the tests are passing. Now we can think things a bit further. You can see that we are creating these objects here, but these objects may have dependencies, right? And it will be much more difficult to just to create them right here. And what we can use is Laravel service container. So open up your provider's app service provider, and this is where we can bind things in our Laravel service container. So this app bind, let's give this a name, stripe.adapter, and then we need to provide a callback function which has access to the app, which in turn gives us back access to the container inside this callback. What we want to do is say simply return new Stripe payment service like this. And you can provide whatever dependencies you have like this. And let's do the same for PayPal and cash on delivery. So this is gonna be PayPal. So PayPal payment service. This is gonna be cash on delivery. So let's change this to cash on delivery service. Now make sure to import everything. Import this one too, and this one too. Nice. So we have all of them. Let's go back to our payment gateway factory. Now we need access to Laravel service container. So public function construct private read-only container like this. And let's name this container. This is the shortcut syntax to define properties using the constructor. So make sure to import this, and it's going to be the second one. So this one. Now let's go back to this match expression, and we can simply say this container make, and let's use that name that we have provided, so stripe.adapter. So it's basically gonna find this inside the container, and it's gonna return a new Stripe payment service, right? So let's do the same for PayPal and cash on delivery. So this is gonna be PayPal, and this is gonna be cash on delivery. Nice. Let's go back to our terminal and let's run PHP artisan test. And let's see. And you can see that the tests are still working. Nice. So this is how you can use this design pattern factory in a real life example. And you can see that the code is much more cleaner. If you enjoyed this and you find this useful, please like and subscribe, and see you next time.